Hi, welcome. It's Monday and we're back with our usual Monday live cooking with our lovely Livia in her kitchen in Bologna. I hope you're well. Thank you so much for joining us. And on the menu today, we have got a very delicious minestrone from Liguria. Is that right, Livia? Did I get my information correct?
Bravissima. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning to everyone. So this is a recipe that actually maybe is more like can be a good winter recipe because it warms up the room while you cook it because all the vegetables have to cook very slowly and it makes a good scent perfume all over spread into your apartment. But it can be also a summer recipe if you use different ingredients which are in season in summer. And this is something I've learned in Liguria again. We're doing all the Ligurian recipes and then it's done. No, it's just I'm already thinking about what we should do next week, and I have good ideas about next Monday.
Perfect.
Okay.
And you're doing a back to basics class this week, aren't you, on the online courses? If anyone's looking to go back to basics with their cooking, I think you're doing pizza this week, aren't you? Classic.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we are doing a new kind of lesson, so it's going to be, we say verticale when we talk about this way about this kind of lessons here in Italy. So it's going to be everything that we know about pizza. You're going to learn how to make a dough that can be cooked in a normal oven, but I will also show you how to prepare it in a, let's say, professional oven. So in an oven that cooks with high temperature, a stone that can reach a very high temperature and with a flame behind. And so I will show you both kind of pizza and roll it thin and how long it has to rest, all the secrets about making pizza. And you have the chance to make your own dough. And actually, since if we want to make it together, you need to prepare it ahead to be able to cook it at the last minute because they need quite a long time of rising, growing.
With pizza, I always stick to the basics. The margherita, you can't go wrong with a basic margherita pizza. That's always my favorite. But yeah, anyone who's keen to find out more about pizza, Livia is giving away all our top tips and all our secrets about pizza making. It's Friday night, 6:30, isn't it, online on Zoom? And we'll pop a link in the comments below if anybody wants to join me, which is great. Super. Okay. But today's lunchtime healthy recipe is delicious soup, Livia. What's included? What have we got to
Okay, so this recipe is very simple, Lorna. So it's just based on good quality ingredients, and as we were saying, they need to be ingredients that are in season. So minestrone is from all over around Italy. It's been invented in Italy, and the name, I'm glad that you keep the right name in UK because you call it minestrone, okay, so which is good, is we use this term to describe a mixture of different things. Even in politics, you can describe a minestrone when you want to talk about all different parties that have to get together to end up to do something, let's say. So minestrone got the term from Latin origins, and ministrare means, so ministrare means like giving away food. So, and that's the Latin origin, but it ended up to be a general term of minestra, which for us is what comes after starter, okay, so primo, and it becomes minestrone, like a ratatouille, like a mixture of different ingredients when it refers to this kind of soup. It's not actually a soup because it should be served with a minestra, which is for us a pasta. So you should start it as a soup with a mixture of different ingredients that boil together for a long time, until they become quite soft and like a thick amount of vegetables that have been melting all together. But it should be cooked and served with a kind of pasta. So the kind of minestrone that we are making now is from Liguria because it got slightly different vegetables that they usually use, they traditionally use, but it ends with some pesto. And we have already done a lesson with pesto, so I'll show you how to make them with a mortar, how to make pesto with a mortar, which is the traditional way that everyone use in Liguria. Today, we're going to do a fast version of a pesto with a mixer, okay, or a blender in case you have a blender. I'll show you the ingredients for the minestrone. So I got some already diced to be fast, Lorna, so I'm going to move over here. Okay, and I also have one minestrone already cooked so that I can show you the final thickness you have to reach. So these are carrots, onion, potatoes. Questa qua è, how do you call it? Pumpkin. I don't know how you call it. This kind. La zucca, sì.
Pumpkin, yeah.
This is the courgette. Okay, so these are already diced into small cubes. Then I'm going to show you how to add other ingredients that are actually more in season now. I can come over there with the rest of the ingredients, and then we will cut them together there. So in Liguria, they add also some aubergine, which is quite different from usual. Green beans that they use in a lot of recipes. Fresh peas. Okay, and then if you have cabbage, a kind of cabbage, this one is Savoy cabbage, I think, a little part of it. And also the rind of Parmigiano, which will give a lot of flavor to our soup. Then a basic ingredient are the beans. That should be borlotti or any dry beans that you want to use. In Liguria, they use borlotti. I've used the cannellini beans that I've soaked into water overnight, and then in the morning I start boiling them. So, and you cook them from cold water. You take them to boil. They cook about 40 minutes, depending obviously on the kind, on the variety of beans that you are using. My cannellini will take about 45 minutes. Okay, so they are ready. This mixture of vegetables are going to be added to the cannellini while they're boiling, and I'm going to do it now. So here, the pumpkin, the potato, then all the fresh, courgettes, and now they are in season. So it's actually perfect. The perfect season, let's say, to prepare a minestrone where there are a lot of vegetables that can be used. Okay, so you can see near here, the final result. Okay, now while these start cooking, you need to add a little bit of water, obviously, if the water is not right amount. And then I'm back here to add some other ingredients. Okay.
Yeah.
For these other ingredients, we are going to slice them small together. Okay, so I'm going to add some of this Savoy cabbage into thin, let's say this kind of thickness of slices. Okay, then green beans that are used every time they make pesto in Liguria. I'm going to cut them into smaller pieces like this. Okay, then as I was saying, this strange ingredient that is usually served fried, because aubergine are always fried or simmered, if you think about that. In this case, they boil them, so they will absorb water. So aubergine is not an ingredient that everyone uses, in my experience in Liguria with minestrone. But since it is in season, a lot of the person we have filmed like to use it in their minestrone. So, okay, so this is the aubergine. And then we are going to add some chard. Okay, again, another recipe with chard. Okay. Okay. Which is...
It feels like a really healthy recipe, Livia. I'm watching you with all those vegetables. So anyone who's a bit naughty at the weekend and overdone it, they can just have some really healthy soups to start the week.
It's really very healthy, and I think it's a good recipe in UK because I think there are some of these ingredients that you have all the time, like pumpkin. You can find it all year round, so I think you should find a way to use it. These are just spinach, some spinach. Okay, some baby spinach actually.
Yeah.
It's very healthy and got a lot of vitamins, and you don't need to give it too much attention when you prepare it, because you just need it to boil in a lot of water for about an hour, even longer. And then obviously you have to keep an eye, because when the beans melt and all the other ingredients are melting, it's easy for them to stick in the bottom of the pan. So you should work with your nose and smell the burning if it happens, and then add some water or change the pan in that case. Or otherwise, you can just let's say, leave it going very low flame, and then it will dissolve altogether. So there's a lot of people that think you have to blend it, but actually the blending of the vegetables happens only in case you don't have time. You are in a rush and you want to obtain the soup consistency. And in that case, then you are allowed to blend it. But so you see, I've also had some fresh peas, because right now we have some. I'm adding all of these together at the same time. If if you have time to spend while you're cooking, you can, since they all have different timings for cooking, you can add the thicker and harder vegetables first, and then add the one that will cook, faster later. But you can also add them all at the same time. Add quite a big amount of water, because obviously we reduce, and then let it cook. But add the vegetables to the beans when they are boiling. Okay, while the beans are boiling. Instead, when you cook the beans, you should add them from cold water. So to cook the beans, cold water, and then you can start boiling. When it starts boiling, after 40 minutes, add all the other vegetables. I'm adding also this piece of Parmigiano. Oh, so actually I have to add it to the other one, sorry. Okay. Okay, I'm adding it here. It will release a lot of flavor. It will get softer, and it will be able to be sliced actually in small cubes, and it will give a lot of flavor and add a lot of, make it very tasty. So that's why.
So no stock at all, Livia. You're just using just all the goodness from the vegetables and the Parmesan cheese, right? That's what's going to give the flavor to the soup.
Yes, exactly. No stock. They make their own stock, let's say. So they are making their own stock. But there's people that think that the Parmesan rind is not good for health, because when a cheese is old, is mature, they produce maybe not very good come si dice, particelle, molecole, I don't know, say it, in the grinder, and so that maybe not very good for health. But I grew up, I'm still alive, having always the Parmigiano rind in the broth, because it gives a lot of flavor to it. So you should try at least once when you make your minestrone. If you want to do this version typical from Genova, you should try to do it this way. Okay, so now that the minestrone is cooking, and as you have seen, there are two of them, because I prepared one last night, and the consistency of the minestrone, as you're going to see it, is obtained maybe in 2.5 or 3 hours cooking. And that's why minestrone is considered to be also a winter recipe, because it warms up the room a lot. So actually here, since as you can see, it's quite warm already, maybe it's not a recipe, you could do it on a rainy day. In UK, I don't know, if it's raining or not.
We've got some lovely sunshine just now, actually, Livia. Yeah, summer's arrived.
So that's good.
Yeah, just a couple of questions have been coming through, Livia. If you didn't have time to soak your beans and pre-cook your beans and things, could you use a tin of beans? Would that work as well? Would that be allowed?
Sure, actually, yes, for sure, it's fine. It's just a different quality of, different kind of bean, no, different quality, let's say, because when the beans are already boiled and preserved in a tin, obviously they are more like a mash of beans. Instead, in this soup, you can actually get the consistency of the beans. Right. So, but you can do it, yeah. Obviously, you can do your own version. Yeah. Great. Okay. So now to make the pesto in the mixer, okay, we are going to do this version of a pesto, which in Liguria, as I was saying, they always use a mortar. Okay, most of the person we have ever filmed like to use a mortar, because the consistency of the pesto is very different. Okay, in this case, since the pesto has to be mixed to a soup, let's say, it's fine even if the pesto is made on a blender or on a mixer. So usually, now I will show you the kind of basil leaves, as we said also in the previous lesson, that you should use are the small, tiny, new leaves of basil, because they are more tender and they are less aggressive, let's say, a lot of strong flavor of basil, but also the basil have to be young, and the variety of basil that have to be used to make a pesto is il basilico di Pra. So it's a special basil that comes from a town in Liguria called Pra. So when someone from Liguria go buy basil, they always buy the very young one that is sold with the little roots, okay? And the leaves are very small and they are new, okay? In my region, since we're not in Liguria, that's what they sell for pesto, and even the one that I've shown you here is very big leaves. So the flavor can be a little bit stronger, okay? So usually in a pesto, the ingredients are pecorino, that I got here. Sorry, I put it here. Pecorino here, okay. Just grated. Parmigiano, if you grate it right before, the quality is always better. Rock salt, 1 garlic clove, basil, and also pine nuts, pinoli, okay, which are very important. The version of pesto that should be used to make il minestrone doesn't have to have pine nuts, because the pesto has to be ruvido, which means rough, a little bit more rough, and the flavor doesn't have to be nutty, okay? So this is what we're doing now is a minestrone for summer. Then there is the winter version of minestrone in Liguria, which is served with a mixture of parsley and onion diced together and added at the end. So in the summer version, instead, there is pesto added, but pesto without pine nuts. So that's why here we are making, sorry. So this is the basil that I'm trying to push it under. Then 1 garlic clove. I take off the shoot here, otherwise this way is more digestible. I've learned a new thing on this travel in Liguria, that you can actually freeze garlic. I don't know if you have ever thought about that. You can freeze it. The color of the garlic will be a bit darker, yellow, but then the flavor is the same and the color will be back to normal when you use it. So when you have a fresh garlic, you can freeze it, then use it from frozen. I add a little bit of rock salt, okay? That will also help the blades to work better. And then I'm adding already a little bit of oil because I would like to make sure that, okay, it will work easy, because the blades maybe struggle a little bit. Okay, so now I'm adding a little bit more of oil, pushing down.
What kind of consistency, Livia, are people looking for? Just should it be quite runny or quite smooth, or what should they look for?
No, it will have to be quite thick. We will add the Parmigiano at the end. That will give flavor and will thicken it up. So for now, it's just a matter of mixing mixing the basil. Okay, and now I can start, since I've reduced the size and work it quite a lot. Sorry, I get a spoon. I'm going to start adding Parmigiano. Okay. I'm doing a small amount. So this is Parmigiano. You always have to be generous. And this is Pecorino. It should be an old Pecorino, quite seasoned, matured, so they got quite a strong flavor. And usually the Pecorino you use come from Sardinia. And if you think about geography, Sardinia and Liguria are close to each other, and that's why they use a lot of Sardinia products in Liguria. Okay, you see, when you can hear the sound is changing, that means that the blade is working a little bit less fast, and the consistency is gathered.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I had to preserve these for a long time in the fridge in a jar, I would add a lot of oil. In this case, I'm adding just a little bit to make it a little bit more runny, to be able to scoop it out from this container, okay, and use it better. But this is the consistency that we have obtained of a pesto. Okay, so in winter that would be just parsley and onion. In summer, it would be a similar version of the normal pesto when there is basil. So, and this version is based on basil, Parmigiano, and pecorino. Okay, some salt and some garlic as usual. Okay, so now we can go back to see that the ingredients are boiling, as you can see.
It looks an amazing color, Livia. It must smell fantastic.
You are exactly precise. Yeah, you can smell a lot of minestrone all over along my house since yesterday. Okay, and actually yesterday was raining, so it was a good day to do it. As you can see, the beans are melting a little bit. Yeah, they are already breaking, and you can see there's the rind of Parmigiano, which is flavoring everything. Okay, then I'm going to add just some salt, but check the flavor and the saltiness at the end, and add salt in case you think it's not enough. So not too much at the beginning, but a little bit of salt is always needed. And then I'm adding some oil already while the vegetables are cooking. Okay, but the more important amount of oil is what you have raw at the end. Okay, so now this is what you should get to after a few hours cooking. Okay, and this is the consistency. Okay. And actually they say in Genova that the right consistency happens when you are able for the spoon to be standing on itself. Yeah. Actually, as you can see, my hand is here, so the spoon is standing. Okay, so the thickness is right. Okay, now I'm going to take some to dish it, and we are adding the basil on the pesto on top. Okay, so it is important that you don't mix the to the soup, to what is now just the soup. I'm doing the version without the pasta. Okay. So this can be called even just a soup because it doesn't have any pasta in it. So it's not a real minestrone if it doesn't have pasta in it, okay? And now I'm going back there, Lorne, and I'm adding, okay, and I am now adding some pesto on top, okay? And mix it in. So I'm just going to take this, which will give it a very strong flavor of summer, let's say, because basils always make you think of summer. And the color of Ligurian minestrone is very bright, and usually it's very green, bright green, let's say, as you can see.
That looks delicious, Livia. It just looks absolutely gorgeous. Really nice.
Ecco qua. So it should be always served with some good quality of oil on top. Okay, così.
Wow, and
this is ready. And the smell really reminds you of, let's say, summer because it's basil smell. In winter, do the version with parsley and onion diced small and add at the end. That will flavor the minestrone and make it slightly different from usual. But as I was saying, minestrone should be served with pasta, should be finished with pasta. So at this point that I just showed you, I would have had to take a few spoons out, add a little bit of water, and in 10 minutes or even less, depending on the kind of pasta you're cooking into, boil some pasta so that the thickness will be even more, okay? And then serve it with the pasta and the basil pesto always at the end, because as you know, there is cheese in the pesto. A good quality pesto doesn't have to be served, doesn't have to be cooked. It has to be mixed to the pasta at the end, so it will just flavor the pasta. The kind of pasta that you should use in a minestrone is either something similar to this, okay, that we call, in Liguria, they call bricchetti, like a thick spaghetto. This is quite thin, but you could have a version with, for example, you could buy a package of quite a thick spaghetto and cut it small, and that's what they call bricchetti, that they usually serve with minestrone. Otherwise, something similar to fregola or something similar to a thick couscous, as we were saying in the past, or any other kind of pasta that you would like to serve in minestrone is fine. Also, a rice, boiling rice in minestrone in some Italian regions make it very typical. So, but there needed to be a pasta. Otherwise, it's not a minestrone, but it's a soup. Okay, so I've done a version which is like a soup at the end.
You call that without the pasta, you call that a minestra without the pasta.
Minestra, minestra. That's why it's called minestrone, and minestra comes from the Latin, but so that you should make it with the pasta. Because the idea of eating these ingredients in the past was not, that's when these traditional recipes had origins, was to feed people, to make them full, not for them to be light and healthy. It was a way to use all the ingredients that they produce. And these are the ingredients that you can find when they are in season.
Yeah, no, delicious, great. A bowl of goodness, a bowl of health, just what everybody needs to start the week in the right way, isn't it? Which is perfect. We've got some lovely messages actually. Val says hello, Sheila's saying hello.
Ciao.
Yeah, Andy's there too as well. So it's nice to see everybody. And hopefully they're inspired, got some ideas of what to cook now for lunch or for the rest of the week, which is great. What are you planning to do for the rest of the week, Livia? You're cooking on Friday night. You're doing a pizza lesson Friday night. If anybody wants to join, what else are you doing this week?
Yeah, I have a sourdough that I have to take care of like a child. I don't know. I'm not a very good mother, but is there need to be fed, and then a lot of gardening if it doesn't rain, and a lot of time with my mother. It's not very good. And Bessie, what about you? I know now you're going somewhere. That's why we're going to finish now.
Yeah, that's
where are you going?
So we're back. We're back with groups on holiday. Can you imagine? It's so exciting. It feels. I'm almost quite nervous. We've got groups in Ely just now. We're doing Taster Week. They arrived yesterday, and we've got a group arriving this afternoon to go for a painting week at Carlowry Castle. So yeah, it's lovely. It's really it's like getting back to what we used to do. Running holidays, so it'd be nice to see people and be out and about. So yeah, that was
exciting.
Doing that, which is great.
And yesterday was a nice day, right? So it was sunny, you were saying. So even perfect for painting or anything else.
They're doing photography, I think, in Ely today. They're doing a photography taster, so they're getting their cameras out and great pictures, which is super. So yeah, no, it's really great. But if anybody obviously isn't going on holiday, they can still join us online because there's lots of classes and Livia and painting and Pilates, lots of things still going online as well, which is good too. So Livia, I'll see you again next Monday. Yeah,
next Monday is going to be about courgettes. I think courgettes are starting to be in season also there. So we're going to talk about all different kinds of courgettes and now some easy recipes to make them more delicious.
Good. Are you doing anything with courgette flowers?
Sorry? Well, no, I don't know. I've been told that you don't find courgette flowers very easily. So I thought to skip them because it's annoying if I show you something that you cannot eat. So, but many different kinds of courgettes that you can find and that we can find different ways to cook them, which, I think they are an interesting vegetable if you cook it right. So
perfect. That's
will
good.
give you new ideas.
Yeah, we're being very healthy in June, Livia. I'm impressed.
Very good. Would be very healthy with a lot of vegetables.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you as always, Livia, all your top tips and all your secrets. And thank you anybody who's been joining us. Lovely to see you all. Hope you have a good week, and we'll catch you next week. Take care. Thank you very much. Bye now.
Bye-bye.